All right, so we are live. I have Harry here. How you doing, Harry?
I'm good, thank you. How about yourself?
Yep, I'm also okay, or as okay as you can be right now.
Yeah.
Um, it's been a rough 2 games, hasn't it?
The sun is not shining on Man United. Two games,
Maybe
two defeats. Obviously, away games, it has been tough.
shouldn't even be an excuse, but maybe the players do need a bit of sun as well to rest. But okay, if we go into the first question would be, how would you sum up our season so far?
Um, it's been a good season, but the ending just is. It's again. It feels like whenever it comes to the end of the season, Man United just end up crumbling. It was like that after PSG, after we knocked them out of the Champions League, went on a run under Ollie, and we just started losing loads of games. It's typical because the players don't have the right mentality. But I would say it's so far a successful season. We just need to get top four, and that's it. It's been successful.
Yeah, a question like this: how would you sum up the season? If I asked anyone or any United fan this question a month or two ago, we would have been just guns blazing. So, you know, it's a bit of a trap, the question. You can't let maybe 2 weeks write off the entire season, how you're feeling. But to be honest, if we go back and we think about at the end of last season or just the whole of last season, see that was a problem, travesty. That was terrible. And to be honest, at that point, I thought I'm not going to see United do anything for another 4 or 5 years minimum. That was absolute and utter mayhem. So to
It was
see us now,
humiliation.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But now we've got silverware on the table, so that pressure's somewhat gone. We're fighting for top four. Could have been fighting for more. I don't think the season's been too bad. Especially considering what we were going to be as well. Because we were about to get Arnautovic and Rabiot, and that's been a bit of a like, you see what I'm saying? The season could have been way
Yeah,
bad.
Rabiot. If Rabiot come in, we would have been we would have been finished. This midfield, oh my god, Casemiro has literally been a savior. It's not been great like the past few matches, but I think that's only because he thinks he's going to get another red. And to be fair, the refs have
Yeah,
been against
yeah.
Casemiro this season. So what more can I say? Like,
It was the same ref, that gave him the second red. Maybe he's been targeted, but I do feel him, to be honest, because he's just not going in and being that killer anymore. And it probably is. Every time he even goes in for a normal tackle, the ref's hand is twitching for a card. But since we are discussing players, then why don't we get into who deserves a new contract and who has to go? Just
okay,
start with the elephant in the
well,
room. Start with the
the
elephant in the room.
obvious
We
one
know it.
is
What do you think
that
about De
that
Gea?
man, that virus, that man who has cost us a Europa League trophy 2019. Don't you think I forgot David De Gea? How many seasons has he been poor for now? Realistically, it's been like 3 or 4 seasons that he's been consistently pouring. I know that last season he did okay, but we conceded the most amount of goals in our history in the Premier League. And De Gea come out last season and said, "Oh, it's my my best season ever in goal." Is he? What's he on? It's not De Gea is the defense. It's literally the goal is the defense. It's literally the entire defense is the defense, and not just the goalkeeper.
Yeah, with De Gea, I think he's been sold out a bit. Last season, I wouldn't blame him as much. Last season, our defenders were absolute, just embarrassing. Um, but that
There's the
game,
photo. That's
the thing
conclusive,
is,
bro.
I get that he made that mistake. Right, what's on our
Hmm.
screen? This is abysmal. You can't be letting this in. And I can see Saeed is saying De Gea 400k wage is absurd.
Wait,
Yeah, it's absurd now. When he got it, though, maybe still absurd, but obviously he's going to take a reduction. So the new contract will probably look something around 200k. But even then, this goal was let in. But was that the reason we lost?
You know, it's difficult to tell. I think personally the players are tired, but De Gea is a big reason why we concede a lot of our goals, because he doesn't exactly come on the box very well. He doesn't come and claim crosses. His distribution is awful. His distribution is so poor. I know he's slightly improved this season, a little on distribution, but he's not done enough. And even if he was on 200k a week, like, you don't want him to be your backup keeper on 200k a week. Like, FFP is an issue right now for Man United. You have to go out and sign the new players that are going to come in. So it's yesterday.
So
maybe it wasn't solely his fault, but you know.
Okay, so there's a couple points on this, right? Okay, I'm just reading that comment. Somebody saying the reason you lost is because he didn't save an easy shot. See, the whole team wasn't up for it. It's clear as day. We didn't. It's not like we scored, and it's not like we looked like scoring either. We had a good 10 minutes to start or something, but we really didn't look like we were going to score. At no point, throughout the season, if we went a goal down or we were a goal up, no matter what the scenario was, I could just see Casemiro commanding the entire pitch, and I'm like, yeah, we've got not one, maybe 2 or 3 goals in us. It just didn't smell that way yesterday. It looked like a draw, to be honest. It looked like 0-0, and we were going to scrape away with that. But then, with De Gea, right? And you mentioned financial fair play.
Yeah.
If we get rid of him, is it worth? Because as far as I'm concerned, I'm going to say the benchmark is 60 million to replace a keeper. There's no way we're going to not spend at least 60 million. Is it worth 60 million to upgrade at goalkeeper right now? Because we need a new striker. We definitely need another ball-carrying midfielder. You could argue there's another piece in defense we might need, or maybe I would say a goalkeeper would be there at this point. But some people would argue we need another centre-back. Is Lindelof going? If Lindelof goes, what, Maguire is the backup? Then you got a question: would you rather De Gea stay in goal or Maguire be your backup? As far as like the question goes, who deserves a new contract? If De Gea is going to go for 200k, I'd still take him because he can still save shots. The distribution is disgusting. I agree. It's gotten a bit better, not much, but there's bigger fish to fry.
I disagree. I genuinely think he's one of the main problems in the team. I think we need a new striker before we need a new goalkeeper. I think that's obvious. And obviously Dean Henderson as well.
Yeah.
He's out on Nottingham Forest. He can come back. And, for a stopgap, you could use him. He's not amazing.
He's had a season-ending injury.
Yeah.
Season-ending injury. So don't even know when he's back.
That's true. But, I still would take... If the budget was about 60 million on a goalkeeper, genuinely, Diego Costa is probably the best around, and that's worth it because he's young, distributes the ball very well. His penalty save percentage is really high, and his shot stopping is excellent as well. Like, he's what you need. Like, Man City got rid of Hart, brought in Edison. Liverpool got rid of Karius, brought in Alisson. Like, that's what Man United need. They need to get rid of and stop having that loyalty to De Gea and get rid of him and bring in a brand new keeper that will take us to the next level.
See, these are great points, right? But I watched a podcast by Ben Foster. So obviously he is a goalkeeper. And he is saying being a goalkeeper is already hard enough. But Manchester United in particular, the chances of you signing a world-class goalkeeper and them being absolutely rubbish and never showing that class just because they're the goalkeeper of Man United is almost certain. So although I like Raya, I like Costa as well, but there are moments in the season, especially the World Cup, they had howlers, especially Costa. They had absolute howlers. So all you're really upgrading is distribution. Is that worth it? Maybe yes, but then is it worth losing 60 mil though? 60 mil when they're saying if Sir Jim takes over, our our total budget to spend without transfers is 100 million, maybe 120. If you spend 60 million on a keeper, your summer's finished.
I mean, you got that, but you also have to take into consideration the fact that you let De Gea go and you save those wages, and you let Henderson go as well for however much you're going to get from, like, probably 20 mil, or even less than that, maybe like 10 mil. But like, I still would put the money up for a goalkeeper because I just think it's so important. Like, I prefer shot prevention over shot stopping because at the end of the day, like Ten Hag can't produce like his style of football whilst David De Gea is still a Manchester United goalkeeper. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
I've seen that comment, Foster's
yeah,
United
that
again.
is. You know,
He saved the penalty
that is true
recently.
because yeah, that was a great save though. But with De Gea, he's just hoofing it up right now. I feel as though Ten Hag has lost that faith of him even trying to do it. It is definitely a need. I do agree that De Gea probably doesn't deserve a new contract. I think if he is going to stay, then he absolutely needs to take that pay cut. If he gets on 200k, then I'm still more willing to say, okay, let's keep him for another year at least until we somewhat fix the rest of the team to improve. It's just going to depend on how the summer goes. But I mean, okay, we can get back to De Gea, but then there's other players that are in this talk of who needs to go, because Lindelof, Maguire, Rashford, and Martial are already, even Sancho, to be honest, they're already in the talks where, when I say talks, I just mean Twitter. Twitter is talking about should Martial go. With
Rashford would be,
I think it's insane.
he'd be absolutely insane to get rid of him. Absolutely insane to get rid of him. And I'm saying that now. He's our main goal scoring threat. If this summer don't go well and you get rid of Rashford, who's going to score your goals? Where are they coming from? You're going to be scoring less than Chelsea.
You know, not just that, you know, the best ability is availability, and he is there. I mean, right now, I still think he's got that groin injury. There's no way he should be playing football right now. So, of course, he's going to look bad. But if he doesn't play, you know, he's not stupid. He does see what we see. And Sancho's just putting in stinkers. Garnacho's coming back from injury. There's no one else. So, like, who's going to play there? What, like, Weghorst? It doesn't make sense. He's literally rushing himself back. He's going to put on bad performances and get the sort of dumb arguments that we're having now about should he go. But Martial, you know, if he needs a pay cut and maybe to be a backup. If he can't stay healthy, if he's healthy, I don't mind him. I like Martial. I was Martial FC, but
yeah. Oh. He needs those black gloves back. He needs the NHS logo on. He needs those black gloves on. Then he'll be fine. Just stick a plaster on, and then like he'll score all the goals. But 9 goals since 2021, like that season, that's shocking. How many games has he missed? You'd either sell him or Sancho. And I know it's kind of controversial to say, oh, maybe we should sell Sancho, but what has he actually produced in the last 2 seasons? I personally wouldn't sell him, but
yeah,
and I would sell Martial instead. But
you know, even with this comment that's saying now Rashford 2 league goals in 3 months, you know, this is just another thing that Twitter can take out of context. Like over 3 months, we've been playing 3 less league games than the rest of the league. Anyway, we're in other competitions. So when they're saying league goals, they're purposely looking to just smash him in. And on top of that, he's just missed the last 2 weeks anyway, which were league games. So, you know, how many games has he actually played? This is a nothing argument. I don't think Rashford should even be up for debate. Rashford should be here next year. And I just think there's no way about it. Martial, I would rather lose Sancho before Martial, to be honest. At least with Martial, I know it's just injuries. With Sancho, I think it's a bit deeper than that. I'm looking at Sancho. He's slow.
Yeah.
His first touch, I don't see it. He can't hold up the ball. He's not really beating anyone. He's not really defending. What is he actually doing? I mean, okay, he had some stuff going on. Maybe I'll give him next season as well. But if next season is the repeat of this season even, it's not enough.
I think, to be honest, with Sancho, right, Like I know Ten Hag put him on that like program. He sent him out like for like a couple of months, like whilst World Cup was going on, and then for like the next month afterwards, and we all expected him to come back and to play really well. Um, like I don't see it. Like he's not repaid any of that faith. Like you watch him play right with Martial, like he's better with a proper number 9 in the team. Like when he's got a proper number 9 in the team and he links up with players, he looks excellent, right? But sometimes you just need him to have that bit of individual quality, and I don't think he's got that. I genuinely think he's a system player. Like that's why he needs a proper system rather than what we're doing right now.
Yeah, like I said, he's a luxury player. If he was at City, I think he'd just pretty much look like an absolute demon. But right now, you just can't afford to be a luxury player at United. You need to be strong. You need to be fast and just reliable. You need to really be ready. And that takes me on to Antony now. Antony is the absolute polar opposite of Sancho. He has the grit, the determination. He is actually trying. Even if he's
100%.
not scoring, okay, or assisting, I can wholeheartedly say he's kept the lineup and we are looking like a balanced team, and he's on the right wing.
100%.
We've kept the shape. He is defending. I can still see where he is and what he's trying to do. With Sancho, he might move forward to, move down to the cam position, or he's just number 10. He's not really holding his line either. He's not keeping anybody on their toes. Antony, to be honest, I'm not sure why he's here. Antony, it's just Glazer incompetence that he has this price tag. He was offered to us for 40 million at the very, very beginning, before they sold anyone, Gravenberch or anyone.
Glazer
40 million
economics,
euros
man.
was there.
Yeah,
Agreed. If we had gotten him for 40 million, we'd be talking about bargain of the season. But now we have to look at him like £100 million player, and he's here in a. Would you get rid of? So I personally think the answer is utterly no. I'm going to judge him as a 40, 50 million player.
I mean, with Sancho, right? It's also telling, right? Not with Sancho, with Antony. It's telling, right? That every single time he comes off the pitch, we end up conceding, or we look less fluid, we look disjointed every single time he comes off. And what does that say?
The thing is with Sancho, agreed.
Antony.
Sometimes he comes on and there's this energy, and Sancho's really coming at people, and then more times than not, it's not there. And
system play is just an excuse.
Yeah. The thing is, I don't think it's an excuse. We're not letting him off, but we're saying there might be a player there, just not for us. So it's not like we're letting him off to say, let's keep him, get the right system. There's a high chance Ten Hag's system just can't suit this guy. You made a great point about he hasn't repaid his faith.
No. Sometimes as a manager, you want your best players, like your most expensive players, to come back, and you want them to. It's like with Pogba, right? Pogba, we were all talking about how a particular system he would absolutely cook under Ten Hag. By the way, he would be the absolute ideal Ten Hag midfielder. And it's a shame that he's not here, because he would be amazing in the system.
Yeah.
But the same can be said for Sancho, really. Like I think going forward, we don't really have this attacking fluidity. I mean, we've got Weghorst the Snail up top, who he's nowhere near good enough for United, and Martial, who's injured like 24/7. So I mean, with Sancho, like he definitely is a system player, but you need more from him, especially at this point. Like your best players always step up at the right times, like Fernandes, like Rashford, like Casemiro. Like those are the best players we have at the moment.
They have that grit that doesn't need to, can't be taught. Just going back to that previous comment, if Ahmad can go back there about bargain of the season, 40 million you're having a lap. The thing is, he with Antony, he basically has 13 goals and assists. He's been injured this year. He's coming into a league he's never been here, and he's coming to Man United. So 13 goals and assists, I will take it. And he's holding his position. He's being a problem. And people saying, he needs to use his other foot. You don't need to. If you're I'm looking at pundits of legends, Ruud Gullit, Alan Shearer, these guys. They're saying if you have one move that's so good and it's unstoppable, look at Ian Robin. He literally made a career out of it. There's been many players like this. I don't think the weak foot thing is a problem, especially because he's 23. This can be taught. But anyway, I just had to talk about that. Donny van de Beek.
Sell, get rid.
Yeah.
Get rid of Van der Beek. Get rid of Van der Beek.
Personal. I agreed. It's nothing personal. Me, because I care for him right now, just go, man. Go somewhere. Go play football. Revive your career.
But even when he was on loan at Everton, he had a really good first game for Everton, and then he just dipped, didn't do anything.
No, I think his confidence was too gone. Well, I don't think staying in England was the right choice. His confidence here was 100%. Absolutely smashed in. I didn't think that was going to work, even for us. Obviously, I hoped, I prayed, but no, that wasn't. Donny is gone. I mean, we can get a cameo out of him. So I'll put an asterisk on the Donny thing and say we've got a couple games left. He's going to come back. Let's see what cameo he can do, but he's gone.
Wan-Bissaka and Dalot.
So the right back situation. I think we're blessed with the right back situation. We have no problem. We don't need to get rid of either of them. Dalot, he's a proper professional. I remember before the season started in the summer, obviously everyone's got group chats and they're debating, and I was just talking about the lot. I was saying, why does Ancelotti want him so bad? Why does Mourinho want him so bad? These aren't small managers managing, small teams. They're all saying great things about him. His teammates, when he was at Milan, they loved him. I think we are very good here. I would have said maybe get rid of Wan-Bissaka, but we're seeing this guy dribble. Against City, he beat 4 guys.
Tell me about it.
I don't know where this is coming from. Yeah, this is a pleasant surprise.
Someone said to me, I don't like Lombe. He said to me, he was like, Wan-Bissaka is like the De Gea of right backs. I can't tell you how annoyed that made me, because he's a player that's Wan-Bissaka never complained for months on end, didn't play at all. Malacia was being picked at right back ahead of him. Then he comes back and he drops amazing performances. I've only seen him have a couple of bad games since he's been back. That's it. But the issue with both of these is back post defending.
I don't think Dalot's back post defending is the same as Wan-Bissaka's. And to be honest, since Maguire's gotten out of the team, even Wan-Bissaka's getting a bit better with it. I think it's just force of habit now. But, this just takes me back to the Sancho point. Wan-Bissaka has had it so much worse than Sancho. And he is now doing stuff. And rather than me saying, I'm pleasantly surprised, maybe this is just Ten Hag working with him and he's learning and he's understanding. Why can't Sancho just do this? And,
exactly.
We have played. Yeah, agreed. We've played, I think Bruno's played almost 65 games or 64 games. We're going to be in all comps. That's just who we are. It's what we do. There's no way we can get rid of one of them. If they're happy to continue this and Dalot can play left back as well, I don't think any of them should go.
Exactly, yeah. That's why I was saying, I think the most ideal centre-back signing, centre-back and right-back, Timber, it has to be. I will take Timber over Frimpong because he gives you that option and Dalot can play on the left. And Shaw can play centre-back as well.
You think Timber at right-back?
He played there at right-back for Ajax. So he gives you the option.
To be honest, that's just the same as I think anyway, playing Martinez at left back. They can do it. It's like Shaw going to centre back. I like Frimpong though. He's a good young talent, but I think we're good, for fullbacks. If Wan-Bissaka and Dalot, they can fight it out. Malacia and Shaw, they can fight it out. I think we're pretty good. Fullback is definitely at the bottom of the let's fix this lineup. But anyway, that's enough about the players. Let's try and move on now. So, would you consider this season successful? And what would you consider a flop?
I would consider this season successful, like so far. But if we don't get top 4, I would consider that a failure. And the only reason why I say it's been successful so far, we're still in contention for obviously for top 4. We need 3 wins from 4. We have 3 home games left. Why can't we do it? We won a trophy, first one in 6 years. I celebrated like mad. Come on, that's like one of the greatest things. And also, we got to an FA Cup final. Whether we win or lose that or not, it's Manchester City, so I don't know. But it is successful. It's 100% successful. But if we lose, then if we lose that top 4, then it's a failure. Because how can you be in that position for so long with teams like Tottenham? Let's be real here. Tottenham, who played so bad all season, to be around us like that, and Liverpool as well. We've let Liverpool back into it as well. It's a complete failure if we drop out of top 4.
This is a question that I think it needs a lot of context. Would you consider it success? It's more of, when am I looking at this? Because if I looked at this question, what do you consider a success at the start of the season? I probably would have said top 7. I don't know where this. If somebody asked me in the middle of the summer what you expected, and we didn't have Casemiro, we didn't have Antony, it was not looking good. So, and obviously Rashford, in the summer there was loads of talks of, is Rashford good enough? He's absolutely lit up the league.
Yeah,
it's Ten Hag's first year. He took a team which has a bunch of leaks, factions within it. It felt more like a high school canteen or something, where everybody's got their friends and they're going to go and talk and gossip about everybody else. There's leaks coming out of the dressing room. I've never seen a big team like United having all these leaks. At least these are gone. There's 1 or 2 things are coming out now about the hair, but in general, this is all gone. Old Trafford has become a fortress again. It is a success, but then if we bottle top 4, it definitely wouldn't feel like a success, especially because we've been here for so long. Can't imagine 100%. How Arsenal fans feel or how long they were at the top. But we still got a trophy,
Exactly. I mean, that's the thing on Arsenal.
Obviously,
right?
We know what it was, but a trophy is a trophy.
I know it's a Carabao Cup, but come on, Arsenal haven't won a trophy this season. The history books aren't going to be like, oh, well done, you played some great football, you got 2nd place. Do you think Mourinho, he didn't play amazing football, he played part of the bus at times, but he won trophies. He'll be in the history books as one of the best managers of all time. Because of those trophies, it's not necessarily the football that he played. I mean, all right, it's influential, but come on. I'd rather take a Carling Cup than lose the league after being top for so long.
So the comment there about the mighty United fans celebrating a Carling Cup, Arsenal, this is coming from an Arsenal fan, so I'll tell you that. And the same Arsenal fan that told me a trophy is a trophy. And to be honest, I don't know if you remember, but last year there was, I think Liverpool won it, and there was talks: are they going to have a parade for it? So whatever anybody says about the trophy, it's a League Cup. A trophy is a trophy. At the end of the day, where is your silverware? Finishing 2nd with no trophies versus finishing top 4 with trophies, what does it matter? We have a trophy. My manager got the trophy in. My captain lifted the trophy.
Yeah.
The fact that we won a trophy, I'm still going to say the season was more of a success, but it would definitely feel like a failure if we bottled top 4 now. And
100%.
Like you said, our next games are, 3 of them at home, 2 of them being Wolves and Fulham. Wolves 2 games ago got absolutely hammered in 6-0 or 6-1, wherever it was, by Brighton. So it is in our control. To say we're bottling it, I don't think that's fair, because even when you mentioned Spurs and how they're hanging around us, some of our players have played almost 10 or 5 more games than their players, which might not sound like a lot, but when you put it into perspective, that's almost just under a third of a season in the Premier League. It is a lot of football. So obviously they're going to be more tired. Ten Hag just let the players off for the next 2 days, and that is the
Yeah,
first
I
time that
saw.
they've had a week of doing nothing since September. So since September, they've either had training or a game midweek. This is the first time. Maybe we'll see a bounce back, and I think Wolves would be good for that. And now that we're on this topic, let's move on to what is this? United finishing top 4 with a trophy. Yeah, it's facts. Where does it matter where you finish in the league? If you're not
Exactly.
first, then you'll
It doesn't
then you've
matter.
lost.
Yeah.
It's either first or lost. Maybe this team has a trophy. Otherwise, what have you got to show for it? Anyway, so how about we rate Ten Hag's first season compared to the other managers post Fergie? In fact, how about you pick the manager and we'll talk about a post Fergie manager.
I would say the obvious comparison is Mourinho, to be honest, because I know it's
Really?
different styles of football. Yeah, I mean Mourinho won like 2 trophies. He won the League Cup and the Europa League in his first season, and then you compare that to Ten Hag's first season, who's actually won a trophy in his first. I think Ten Hag's had a better first season than Mourinho, because I remember that first Mourinho season, we literally drew so many games in the league, finished 6th in the league.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah. I remember arguing. Like I think it was a 7 or 8 game stretch where we had more than 20 shots in every single game, and we had not a single goal to show for it. It was something absolutely absurd. And I remember there was a stat going around of how many goals Zlatan should have had in that stretch versus obviously the 0. I just think Ten Hag's had a lot more to do. I mean,
he does deal with Ronaldo situation as well.
So there's, I think he's handled that really well.
I would say
he's handled his ego well.
Yeah, I mean, I would say he's probably been the best so far out of the managers. Obviously, the worst one you would say is Moyes. That's the obvious. Moyes, it was too big for him post Fergie. And obviously Van Gaal wasn't that great either. Like, the football we played under Van Gaal was like, let's fall asleep. This is like a lullaby. But yeah, I would say Ten Hag's had like solid like 7 or 8 this season in terms of how we've played, especially the first half of the season. I just hope we don't bottle it, because it is a solid 7 or an
8. Again, we're seeing comments that the people saying the comments clearly either forget football or they just have a short-term memory, because I'm seeing this exact same thing go around Twitter and Instagram again. Ten Hag's got more losses than Ole. There's just no context. They compared Ole's first year, where he obviously managed like half of the season, so obviously he's going to have more losses. And then they compared the season where we were second. They obviously didn't compare him to last season, because they wouldn't want to. That wouldn't fit the agenda. But even the year we finished second, we didn't win a trophy. We weren't in as many competitions. We didn't play as many games. Obviously, we're going to lose more games. That is the dogs barking. But it's just bound to happen. Who cares if he's got more losses? We played more games. We've got a trophy. Do you think Ten Hag was the most successful post Fergie?
Not yet. And I only base it off of trophies, because I think for what he's achieved so far, it's been great, right? I would say he's probably second best after like all the other like failures, right? He's definitely been better than Ole. Let's be real here. He's been better than Van Gaal. He's been better than Moyes. Mourinho, I think, has been the most successful, because, listen, he had Smalling and Jones at centre back. This guy won a trophy with those players in the team, like those sorts of centre backs. Like, that's why I would say Mourinho is still the most successful.
Okay, so we agree at least that the only manager really to compare him to is Mourinho. But then, for example, even what you're saying, right? You said you'll base success on trophies, but then Mourinho set the next manager up for failure. He did nothing in terms of
Yeah.
long-term development of players, and that goes for a lot of the other managers as well. Even Van Gaal, they took old players. At least with Ten Hag, in a year from now, if Ten Hag does exactly what he did this year, and he himself decides to leave, the next manager isn't going to have to come in like some messiah and just rise people from the dead. We've seen improvements from everyone. Ten Hag, he's improved players a lot more than Jose did. That I will give him.
100%,
And
yeah.
then
Yeah.
even with Jose, what he did was great. 80 points, magnificent. But then Smalling back then, he was quite good. I never really hated Smalling. I never really wanted him gone. But he did have Rojo and Lindelof as well.
Blind.
It could have worked. I mean, yeah, Blind. I'm not gonna. Blind was a bad centre back. He should have stayed CDM. I don't know. I really didn't like him as centre back for us. I remember he was target number one, enemy number one back then. Just it's okay, but then obviously he had better players in different areas though.
Yeah,
he had Paul Pogba was in the midfield in his prime. He had Ibra, even Martial and Rashford. They're still in their prime now, but that was a great age for them. He had good players. I personally would say it is hard to say. Jose won a lot. I'd say it's quite close though, just because of how players have developed.
It is hard to say, but then you look at obviously because obviously Ten Hag hasn't completed his first season yet. If he wins the FA Cup against Manchester City, it's him hands down. Like beating Manchester City in the final, it's him 100%. But we've not played that final
leads
yet,
to
so it's
treble.
Oh, that's fine.
If he saves our treble by winning that, I don't know. And I get it's the Champions League. You can never count those guys out. They are like cockroaches in the Champions League. They'll just 100%. You can nuke them, but they won't die. But Yaya Touré's manager said that the curse has been lifted. So
has it?
Apparently, it's been lifted. But Haaland is an absolute animal. He is an animal.
100%.
Who's going to stop him? I don't know.
I
think it's going to have to be us on our day. Yeah, go on.
Can I also just touch on recruitment? Because Haaland is a player Oli wanted. And literally, Rangnick recommended Alvarez and Enzo Fernandez for Man United to sign last January. We didn't sign them. Caicedo as well was mentioned during Oli's time as manager. Like, all of this, is Ten Hag going to fail? It's always coming down to failure with managers. It's not like they're not the club isn't built for success. It's the Glazers that have to go. It's the recruitment.
Agreed. And this is where I let off Anthony for his price tag. It doesn't make sense
100%.
because what you said was true. The further leaks that came out, apparently with Haaland, Alvarez, and Enzo Fernandez, it was more of a Woodward pulling out at the very last minute. So the legwork is done. Hence why our transfers probably take so long as well. He's working on a deal and then he's pulling out last minute after months of negotiation or contract works, contract amendments. You can't get, because I'm certain, although don't quote me on this, I read an article from Julian Alvarez's dad back in the day. He said they had signed their part of the paperwork. It was United that didn't sign it. We were a signature away. And that theme keeps repeating. Enzo Fernandez, Rangnick had him before Benfica. He could have been ours. Enzo Fernandez, Gvardiol, Conrad, Lima.
Even Martinelli.
So
as well.
many.
Yeah. There's been so many. Like even the players we have signed. I remember us in 2014. We went out signed bloody Falcao on loan for big wages and a big loan fee, and then we went and signed Di Maria for all this. All of this, it's not even squad building. It's just you're playing FIFA and you don't actually know what you're doing. You're just picking players based off their name. That's it.
I agree. Yeah, but
That's why,
that time that you just mentioned. Yeah, go on.
no, that's why I was saying we need to, because Ten Hag clearly has a plan that we need to stick to. Like getting rid of De Gea is also part of that plan. Like it's just the way that he wants to play. Like if that means signing a player for cheap, that's not a big name, then we have to deal with it. It's like when Dan James signed from Swansea. Like I didn't think that was a bad deal because he had a lot of potential at the time, and someone that was clearly a squad player wasn't going to start for us regularly. I mean, he did, but that's not the point. Like it's always about finding those cheap players, and United just don't do that.
Dan James was probably the best bit of business we've done in a long time, where we actually buy and sell. Or just a random
50 million profit.
Yeah, I agree. Just out of nowhere. The only thing is, though, Ten Hag is a very blunt manager. He is Ragnick-like and ruthless-like in his nature, where he will say what's on his mind, and he's not really going to think about protecting anyone, especially the Glazers. He is alluded to wanting them out in a very smart ways already. So I think he is a very honest manager with the fans. But he said that he wants De Gea to sign a new contract. I think someone that's as smart as Ten Hag would have avoided that question rather than say that. Or he could have easily said something like, it's not for me to decide with the contract talks. The agent and the club are discussing. He could have brushed it off, but he didn't. He said he wants De Gea there. I think maybe he does want to fix other areas first. It's very hard to tell. But why would he say that?
I think he's only said that because final 4 games of the season, you're not exactly going to come out and say, "Oh, I want my goalkeeper gone," because then your goalkeeper's going to be like, "Oh, okay, then I'll just play awful."
Yeah.
Like he's not exactly going to come out and say, because he needs to give De Gea something to play for. It's his contract. But I think ultimately, even if he does, do some madness and something proven to Superman or whatever, he's not going to get the new contract because Ten Hag won't allow it.
Yeah, but even then, what you're saying makes more sense. But if I was going to play devil's advocate, if he were to brush off De Gea, then surely De Gea should start playing better to get a new contract somewhere else, because now his career is on the run. And to be honest, he's only 30, 31. That's not old for a keeper at all. But I completely get where you're coming from. But I refuse to think that Ten Hag wouldn't just brush it off. He could brush it off, and De Gea wouldn't lose confidence. But he's saying that he wants him to stay, and I don't think he's the type of manager that would say something like that and not actually want it for at least another season. On that though, when I say another next season, we have one final question, and that is, who or what do we need to get us competing?
I think it's obvious. We need a striker. I think there's one name that I really want for this summer, and that's Harry Kane. I think obviously I would absolutely love Osimhen as well. I think Osimhen would be a great fit. But if you're looking for a player that's Premier League proven, that scored 26 goals in the league this season, I know Haaland scored like 1 million goals.
Crazy,
but
isn't it?
Kane, honestly, even with De Gea at the back, if you're getting a striker like Kane, it's a question of, you might concede, but if you get Kane scoring goals, you can outscore your opposition and win more games. It's just as simple as that. That's what Man United need. They just need a striker.
That's a fair. Yeah, that's a fair one to keep the hair. By the way, I am assuming we are splashing on a striker.
Yeah, 100%.
And I agree. We absolutely need Kane or Osimhen. And the entire year, I've been screaming Osimhen. But after the last game against Spurs, and I saw Kane, and I was like, this guy's so good, man. He's
Rashford,
unquestionably world class.
It's also about making the players around you better, and I think that with Kane, especially with him dropping deep, Rashford's going to have so many chances to get in one-on-one because the amount of space is going to create behind. You have to look at the way the team plays. And Fernandes, Fernandes
not even just the space. Agreed, he's going to love it, but not just the space. There was one moment where I really remembered where he just swung the ball into the box and he hit Son, at the back post and gone hit it into the ground and missed. But that kind of playmaking ability, that is, Anthony would love that. If
Yeah,
they would
Anthony.
all love it, they would absolutely eat that up.
I mean, Osimhen would still be a good fit as well. Yeah.
The thing
but
is, he would be a great fit, but they'll sell. They'll sell.
Yeah.
They just want to drive the price up. Even Fabrizio today, Fabrizio today, he said that it's not definite. Even though their director is saying that, he said it's 100% not certain that he's staying. Obviously, it's a feel good. These are his words. He says it's a feel good factor that they're going to say he's not leaving, but he said that's not guaranteed. With Osimhen, he's a foreign player. We know how the media is, because even when De Gea was very good, and even Lindelof, the British players will get more love. It was always 100%. Henderson this, Henderson that. It's Maguire this. It's never Lindelof this. And the thing is, obviously that's not a good thing. But I think if you go to anywhere in the world, they're going to favour their own players more in their own league. It's just a fact. It's just reality. So that being said, if we go and splash the same money, or in my opinion, probably 20, 30 million more than what we'll spend on Kane, on Osimhen, the minute he goes 2 games without scoring, he's going to get hammered in. And then do we have another Sancho on our hands where he's lost confidence? He's not scoring now. He needs some time off because he's never been on a stage this big. And even like what Ben Foster said about the goalkeeping thing, playing goalkeeper for Man United isn't easy. Then if goalkeeping isn't easy, you're the main striker for Man United. It's going to be hell on earth for him if he doesn't score anything. Yeah, it can be.
I was hearing Chelsea were interested, I think, in Osimhen as well, and his idol is Drogba, but he wants to go to Chelsea after this season. Come on, come on.
Yeah,
no one's going to go to Chelsea.
Chelsea are in FPP hell, and they have Nkunku coming as well. To be honest, I'm sick and tired of the bus. Sick and tired of the hatred the foreign players are getting. Just give me Kane and give me 26 league goals and leave me alone.
Exactly.
Honestly, give me your 20 league goals, your 10 assists, wherever it is, and just go and do it. Even if it's short term. What does Kane have? 2 or 3 more good years? I don't care.
And then you go out and you buy
enough players.
I was gonna say, I think we after Kane's sort of done, or during Kane's last season or whatever, you could literally go out and buy an Evan Ferguson or a Rasmus Højlund that's gonna come forward and take that step in the team, and that's what I feel like Man United will probably end up doing. I feel like Rashford for a bit might deputise for Kane though. I feel like Rashford's going to deputise for Kane though for a bit, because I mean that's where he's been filling in anyway.
It wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. I really, in fact, the question is, what would it take to get us competing again? I started just replying to you, and because obviously I agree this is so important, but I think what's going to get us competing again is new owners, and that being Qatar. It's not going to be 100%. Sir Jim, because we need the debt gone. I don't want him to take more debt and then get rid of the Glazers in 2 years or 3 years, even if it's a must. Even if that's a must-do obligation that they sell in the contract, that just means in 2 or 3 years, the club is going to lose money to get rid of them again. What I think is, get me Qatar or anybody with super wealth, whatever it is, bring them in, and let's just take care of the club for a bit. And I know United fans hate saying super wealth, but the difference between us and PSG is that we had what we have now, the money we have now, before them. And if they could go ahead in 3 years or 4 years, they could sell us for a profit, and whoever takes us, whether it's me and you or Sir Jim, they wouldn't even need to put money of their own in because the club can manage itself. Whereas if City's sold tomorrow, where are they in 3 years? They're nowhere. They can't keep it up. We can't. So for now, give me these guys. Give me Qatar. I heard something, I don't know how true it is, that for the last couple of years in their equivalent of Sunday League or their equivalent of goals, the Sheikh, he plays in a United top. If that's the case, bring him in, see if he can play goalkeeper. And just bring him in.
Well, we
bring
more
him
than
in.
that.
But bring him in, get Kane and get Rasmus, and loan him back to his team. Loan him back to the team.
It literally isn't even all about like the money with Qatar, because all right, yeah, they have the most money. You can tell that obviously clear the debt. But what Man United needs is structure. Just footballing structure, footballing people. That's what Qataris will give you. I know with Ratcliffe, there's a chance, right, that Paul Mitchell will come in, but like with the Qataris, at least they'll invest in the infrastructure in the club. There'll be so much structure. There'll be so much. Like it'll be like world class facilities again. Everything, the stadium upgraded. So Jim,
there's bigger problems than director of football. I've been saying this for a while. I don't think a club as big as Man United actually needs a director of football with the way that how big we are and how much goes into getting a player with all of the brands that are on board with United. A director of football, whether it's there or not, it's not really necessary. And a couple of years ago, James Cooper was trying to explain this on Sky, and it just backed up what I was thinking. We don't need a director of football because not much is going to change. The system in place for United to sign somebody with what's going to go into it, image rights, what brand are they with, etc., etc. It's going to take a long time anyway. I mean, we have a director of football now, and realistically, nothing has changed. Look at us. What were we doing in the summer? Even if Sir Jim can guarantee Paul Mitchell, why can't Kato? I don't know if that's really exclusive, but you could get anybody in. You could really get anyone because we're looking at Napoli's director now. That doesn't need Sir Jim anyway, but we need the infrastructure. In fact, I'm 100%. Thinking about Casemiro and Varane. These guys, multiple-time Champions League winners, coming to our club, seeing the facilities. I'm embarrassed. I am embarrassed.
Exactly.
If it's how Ronaldo said it is embarrassing.
And plus, I thought you were going to say that because they're getting older, like we're going to have to replace them in like a couple of years as well. Casemiro and Varane.
To be honest, Varane, I think he needs a replacement just because he's injury prone. But yeah, otherwise, a year or two. But Casemiro, to be honest, CDMs are going for for 34, 35 now. I think we are quite steady with Casemiro. Caicedo.
I would absolutely bring this man in.
It's going to be funny. It would be funny though if him or McAllister can't play without the other. It was a bit of a Fabinho Bakayoko story. How it was always they're both very good, but then when they got split up, one was clearly better. I'm not saying that this is the case here. I'm just saying that would be a funny story if we happened to get the one that wasn't good.
I think Caicedo is
better 130 million.
100%. Yeah.
Oh yeah, 100%. But they're saying it's 130 million starting. There's no way we can do that without.
There's
no way.
Cheaper options. You got Thuram on the market from Nice.
You like Thuram?
Yeah,
I think Thuram's tempted to say he's a good player. I'm really tempted to wonder if we should re-explore Frankie. That is
my dream. My dream signing.
I don't know if you can leave that. As well. It is what happened was what are the words? Shambolic, embarrassment, disgrace, whatever. But if that's Ten Hag's go-to guy, if that is the player he needs to implement his system, is it worth a try again? I wonder for how much cheaper you could get Tonali. Even cheaper than Frankie, even cheaper than Caicedo. I wonder what Tonali would go for. You never know. Maybe he's going to go to his right. I don't even think that. I reckon if Inter Milan won him, they'll get him for like 20 somehow, or Juventus would get him for 30. just one of those random ones. But
He's my
we
dream
definitely need a
signing. Like, I
ball
really
playing
wanted
midfielder.
him last summer. 100%.
Frankie.
Like, I know Bellingham. When it was suggested that we were going in for Bellingham, I was thinking to myself, why? That midfield's going to be like hot potato, man. What are they going to do with the ball? Bellingham, Fernandez, and Casemiro. You need that one player that's consistently composed, got really good defensive attributes. Like, you need sort of a deep playing playmaker, and De Jong is the perfect example of a deep playing playmaker that could actually make a difference.
Yeah.
The closest I think is
He is
Caicedo,
just
and he's expensive as well.
yeah. You know, we saw what Ericsson did for our team before his injury, and I think Frankie is a modern day and much faster, much more physical Ericsson. The only thing Ericsson is missing right now, outside of being a bit older, is physicality. So many times he could really just get stuck in there, but he's not. It's just not who he is, not what he's done. In fact, I think Ericsson lost a goal because of that. I don't know if you remember in last game, he was pretty much the ball fell to him in the box, 1v1, and their defender he was just more aggressive. But Frankie, I don't know if you saw the foot race of Frankie and Dembele, and Frankie was just as fast, if not quicker. But after what happened, do you know? It's just so tough.
I mean, I'd love us to sign him. I know Barcelona want to re-sign Messi, but it seems like he's going to Saudi Arabia. So I mean, who knows about Frankie de Jong? Like, I know Xavi really wants to keep him. And like, why wouldn't he? Like, he's one of Barcelona's best players. Like, although Barcelona obviously they would sell him over like their academy products. Like, Barcelona never sell their academy products, not unless they're like terrible. Like, I don't know. I would really
to be
like
honest,
to.
Sorry,
go on.
There's some news, with no, just a quick one, because they're willing to get rid of Ansu Fati for Neves and like 30 million. Apparently, that is being
Yeah, I've
considered
seen that.
very heavily right now.
That's sport, though. It's not really.
If they're doing that, Sport have been somewhat good last summer, surprisingly. But where there's smoke, there's fire. If something
100%.
like that is on the board, to be honest, those guys need money, man. It's just Frankie. I think we put up the same offer and just say, is he going to take it? You have a day or two. If Frankie says no, don't talk to us again. Something like that. But I don't know. I just don't think we're going to get Caicedo. 130 million is starting.
Steep.
Is crazy.
Yeah, I know. 100%.
Quick one. 5 players out, 5 players in. Okay.
Wow.
Should we start with out? How about this? I'll do one out, you do one out, then we do an in and an in. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. That's cool.
Okay. All right. Okay. You start. Just without.
De Gea.
I'm gonna say Donny. I'm gonna be safe and say Donny. You say in.
Costa.
When it said players in, I thought it meant keep. But yeah, you know what? You're right. Players in does also mean transfers. Give me Kane.
Cool. Players out again. Maguire. Obvious.
Okay. Yeah, I thought you were going to do an in. I agree, Maguire. He needs to go, man.
Who else? Who else would you get rid of though? Because we've got 3 so far. I would get rid of McTominay. Disgusting baller. Disgusting.
McTominay, I don't know. There was no progression. There was a while under Ole where he was looking like that guy, but yeah, just zero progression. He was, yeah. Okay, so we'll agree McTominay.
Where Course and Sabitzer I wouldn't include because they'll probably go back anyway. I'm gonna say Martial over Sancho.
Yeah, it has to be Martial over Sancho. The injury is just too much. Okay, so I think we have one more out. One more out.
One more out. Oh, no, I think that's it because you said De Gea, Van der Beek, Maguire, McTominay, and
Martial. Yeah,
and Martial. Yeah. Fred.
Fred, he can't go. Fred can't go.
He's
We need that
50-50,
energy.
Fred. Depends what Fred you
Yeah,
get.
agreed, and I'll take that. Fred is good to have on the bench, man. It's okay. When Fred's
He's
in
good as
form,
a
he is
squad
in
option,
form.
yeah.
You can't. You know what the thing is? You can't get rid of everyone. Once you get rid of the ethos of the team,
Weghorst.
then all of a sudden,
He's on loan.
yeah, then he's not our player. They've already said they're not going to keep Weghorst anyway. But if you get rid of Fred and you lose too much of the core players that have been in for a while, you're going to end up like Chelsea now, or like the original Van Gaal United, which is what I forgot to say when you were mentioning those players. We was looking around.
Greenwood release.
We were looking around, and you're thinking, who knows what it's like to play for Man United? There's too many new faces that have never felt the United pressure, and they're just crumbling. Di Maria's the obvious one. He just crumbled under that pressure. Fred, even though he's 50-50, he knows what it means to be a United player, so I'm not going to put him in the outs yet. If we talk about Fred out, it might be a next year or 2-year thing when he's just old. I think Fred will naturally just die out. Anyway, Inns, who did we say for Inns?
We said Costa so far and Kane.
Yeah, Costa, Kane. Then I'd still want Rasmus in, to be honest. Even if we loan him back out, I want him in now. I don't want another Haaland situation.
Yeah.
Midfielders.
I mean, ideally, De Jong. Ideally.
Yeah, it is. I just don't want to say it. De Jong and Caicedo, they're just, they both have an asterisk. Caicedo's price, not even expensive. I don't think De Jong's expensive. 70 million. If they take that, we can do that. But it's just he doesn't want to go. I'd love to get Tonali in, to be honest. And then obviously we need another centre back in.
Kim and Jay.
For centre back, there's a couple good options.
Kim and Jay, 40 mil release.
Even then, I think he could end up being like Maguire, man. He's just big, slow, and people say he's fast, but Maguire was looking deceptively fast back in the day as well. I'm just worried. I have now a massive fear of
PTSD,
really
Maguire, BT.
Yeah, I don't know why. I just, it's so unfair, but I already think Kim and Jay is going to be a bust for us. It's so unfair. I'm only basing it off the fact that he's physically like Maguire. That's it.
Oh, 100%, yeah. I don't know who else. I mean, Timber I wouldn't take at centre-back because that's why I said right-back, because you've got Martinez who's like 5'9", and Timber is of a similar height. Defenders, like strikers, are going to have like a field day against a centre-back like that. Like two centre-backs like that. You need someone with at least some sort of physical presence, like the way Varane is with like Martinez at the moment.
Yeah, to be honest, you're not wrong at all. Kim and Jay, I think, I don't think there's really any other way around it, unless we can maybe go to, to be honest, I think it will have to be. Because any other big player that we're going to get to replace Varane, you're looking at the same quality. And if you're looking at the same quality, then what teams are you looking at? You're going to go for maybe Marquinhos or something, but it's a tough one. Centre back, to be honest, I would have liked for Mengi or Tuanzebe to have taken this role by now. But we can come back to centre back for another day. I think we've passed the hour mark, so we will just wrap up the show here. I think it's been a great show, Harry. We
covered a lot of bases,
show, especially considering. And especially considering the other lads couldn't make it. Hopefully next week it wouldn't be like that. Yeah. Outside of that, thanks for watching, guys. Just leave a like, comment, subscribe, and we'll be back next week, Monday, 9 p.m.
See you next week, guys.